they say that they're interested in taking care of the little innocent ones. They're not taking care of our son. They told us they could do a better job than us, Doc. That's what they said.
If I could say anything to a mother who just got their children detained, you're in a crisis. Life feels like it's over. The most important thing is regaining custody of your children.
The child welfare system at its core is designed to protect children who need protection. Okay, and that's key, is who need protection.
So social workers, out of fear, will remove more children rather than only remove those children that truly need to be removed.
The difference between the criminal system and the child welfare system is substantial. You have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent.
You're not proving your guilt, innocence, or anything. You're proving how better a parent you are to the system. And you're just driving to be the parent.
Typically associate blessing with this fictional, painless existence and things going as we think they should.
It's so frustrating when you're the parent and you feel like, the judge, he doesn't know. And like you said, who is he going to believe? The parents accused of these horrendous allegations, or the social worker? Why would she lie about it?
The kids are traumatized, and the one person that they need to go to is still unsure what really happened. The families are destroyed, sometimes never to come back the same.
Come here.
Kids are not safe in child protective services.
So my son with special needs has been in 4 different homes. It doesn't seem real.
This isn't someone stole your car. Someone broke in your house. This someone took your child.
Okay. So, good afternoon to you both, Miss G, Cassandra. Before the show started, Cassandra, you told me that you have a case here in California.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can intelligently talk about that. I'm licensed here in California. Why don't you tell me about your case, about you, about your family, and then I know you have some questions you want to ask me, and I'll just spend the rest of the time we have today answering your questions. Okay?
Okay.
So
well, my whole case started in 2018. My two daughters were living with their father because I was unable to house them at the time because I just moved back to state. We moved out of state and I came back and I needed them to be stable. So I gave them to their father because he was stable. And come to find out, he was doing things that weren't good, but I had no idea. And he gets raided and his house gets raided. My kids get detained. And I have a friend come tell me what had happened. Well, so then I go to court, and it was a holiday weekend. So I had to wait over the weekend. I go to court, and my public defender tells me that I just need to do what they say, and that's it. I was going to school for child development. I had parenting classes already. I was a good mom. I made sure my kids had everything they wanted, and I made sure that they were supported, which I thought that's what he was doing. And then the public defender tells me, well, you have to do what they say. They want me to take drug classes for allegations of drugs that I've never even done drugs. And they wanted me to take classes, and they wanted me to take parenting classes, which I've already had parenting classes and was going to school for child development, which ruined that. I had to take domestic violence classes for things that me and my mom had problems with when I was younger. I have to do all these things, and she told me I had to do them. Well, the court told me to go take a drug test, and I went to go take the drug test at the facility that they wanted me to take it at, and then they told me that they couldn't do it because I had to be part of their color system. And then after that, I realized that, I'm not going to get my kids back. They're going to not try to give me my kids back. And so I kind of stopped trying as much. And then they started alienating me when I was trying. They would not call me back. They told me my kids' social worker got changed. I give them my phone numbers. They wouldn't call me back. And now that they're older, because it started in 2018, they just basically, when their dad, because they would talk to their dad, the one that got them taken, he went to jail and did all his classes, and then they told him when he got out of jail, he had to do them again. They promised him to reunification 2 times and then denied it after they already promised it to him twice. So he gave up and then went back to prison, of course. But he actually tried, and I've never seen that man try to do anything in his life like that. For these girls, he tried, and they denied it twice. When he went back to jail, though, they started communicating with me again. And ever since then, they were telling me my daughter's running away from foster care. She ended up getting pregnant by an older man while she was running away. And I told them, well, you guys are just letting her run away from the the group home. She was telling me stories about them fighting in group homes. They totally don't even pay attention to my other daughter after they split them up. And all this stuff is still happening. They're still letting her talk to this older guy. And I'm just trying to figure out, what do you do when you feel like DCF is failing to protect your child?
What county are you in?
San Bernardino.
And where are your children placed?
In Riverside County.
With who?
With one's in a group home and one's in a foster family home because she was on good behavior, so they put her in a family foster home. But my other one's still in a group home because she wasn't following their services.
How old are the girls?
13 and 14.
Okay. When is your next court date?
On July 22nd. It's a PPR meeting, a PPR appearance.
A what?
A PPR.
PPR, Permanent Placement Review? Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's something called a TPR.
Yeah, but that's...
Termination.
Yeah, I talked to my public defender, and she told me that it's not a TPR. I actually had to tell her that it was a PPR because I got the letter before she did.
Okay. All right. So I know you have some questions. I have a general idea of what's going on. So go ahead and ask your first question. Let me see if I can give you an intelligent, well-reasoned answer.
Well, the first question is what do you do when you feel like your kid is the DCF is failing to protect your child? What can you do? Is there anything that I could do to possibly fix this situation?
Oh, yes. There is a lot of things that you can do. Now, granted, I haven't reviewed your file, right? I haven't looked at your chart. If I was a doctor, I'd have to look at your chart before I suggest any type of remedy or medication or surgery. Same thing for lawyers, but I'm going to generally tell you what you can do in this situation. Number one, you're going to have to file a 388 petition, and you're going to have to ask for increased and more liberalized visits, and or for the children to be returned to you, and or that the children be placed with a friendly relative or family friend. These people can live anywhere in the world. They don't have to live in San Bernardino or Riverside or California for that matter. Okay, so that's the first thing that you should do. I'm not sure what the case plan was that the court ordered, but if you haven't completed the case plan, that's one of the things that I'd suggest that you do while you're filing this. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I started doing the case plan, following the case plan for the most part. And that's the other question. Do I have to do the whole case plan in order, or do I have to just show initial changes?
Well, that's a very good question. Theoretically, you just have to show the initial changes, but in all practicality, you're going to have to do the case plan because whatever judge you have in San Bernardino is probably going to, require you to do all of that. One of the things that I heard you say, which, it took a little wind out of me, was that you started giving up on this situation at the beginning or somewhere towards the end of the case. And
towards the beginning when they started alienating me because I couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Right. And, I understand that. I mean, I can't tell you that I know how you feel because I've never been in that situation. I can only imagine, these are your children. But I'm here to tell you, please don't ever give up. All right. It doesn't sound, and I haven't reviewed your file, it doesn't sound like you have that type of case where the kid should not be placed with you. And that could mean a few things. Could mean, number one, you haven't told me the whole story. Or number two, you got some really questionable legal representation. Or number three, you just gave up and you walked away at the time that you should have been fighting to get the children back. Or it could be any combination of those. It could be other things. I just don't know. But I'm here to tell you, because of the age of your children, it's unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely that they're going to be adopted and they're going to lose your parental rights. But because of their age and they're getting older, and because it doesn't sound like you were really an offending parent, you can do things to get your children back. I'm here to tell you that. Okay? You got to come up with a plan, got to come up with a strategy, and you got to implement it. You have to be systematic about it. All right? And if you're not systematic and you're going to be haphazard and all over the place, your plan's not going to work well. Okay? So that's what you're going to have to do. And at some point in time, if you want me to review your file, and sit down with you in person or on Zoom, I can do that. What's your next question?
Okay. A part of my case is that I have this lady. She is an ex-social worker. She's been with me before the kids got taken. She is the pastor of the church that my kids used to go to. She became their foster mom for a moment in time. Well, she's seen my changes, and she's seen that they're failing to protect my child. Like, she agrees with what she sees with me. She agrees that they're failing to protect. She actually reported the social worker as being neglectful towards what's going on in my situation. And she wants me to have a meeting with the social worker and his supervisor. And I wasn't sure if that would be a good idea or not. So I was wondering if that would be a good idea because she's wanting to request reunification services again.
Right. The way that you can get reunification services is by filing and proving that 388, or by convincing the social worker and the supervisor to give it to you. Here's the thing. I don't know enough about your case to tell you, and about the social worker or supervisor and you even, to tell you whether you should meet with them. My general, I want to repeat, general recommendations to people is don't ever meet with a social worker by yourself without an attorney. either present in person or on the phone. Now, do I ever veer from that those recommendations? Yeah, I do sometimes, depending on the situation. Based upon what you've told me, I wouldn't necessarily meet with them. I would just file the 388 with my evidence and proof, and then try to see if you can win that or force them to give you more reunification services. But it doesn't sound like you need reunification services. I think you just we're going to have to prove to the judge that the kids would not be at risk if placed with you, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, you remember when I said file the 388, reunification services was one of 3 or 4 things I mentioned. The top of the list should be, I'd like my kids returned to me right now. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Your
my
key, I hate to say this, but your case, and I haven't reviewed it, but from what you're telling me, your case sounds like one of those cases, and there are many of them that just have slipped through the cracks. And nobody's really paying attention to what's going on. There's more important things in the world to them, more serious cases to them, and they're just not paying attention to you in your case. And, listen, my grandmother who raised me used to tell me this: don't get mad, don't get upset, just get even, just do what you have to do through the process. We have a very, generally very fair process, just that people don't know how to do it, how to do the process. I think I've told this story before. A guy came to my office on a Saturday morning many years ago, and he had been in court the Friday, the Friday before the Saturday. And he came in telling me how corrupt the court system was and how the judge was unfair. The judge must have been bribed, on and on and on. And when I got down to, the heart of his case, he showed up in court without a lawyer, and he had all his evidence, 3 inches thick worth of documents that proved his case. The problem is that nobody explained to him, and he didn't know the rules of evidence in California. So when the judge didn't admit those documents, everything became unfair, corrupt. But it wasn't true. It was the fact that he didn't know the rules. And he felt that he shouldn't have to know the rules to do what's fair and right. Don't ever think what you believe is fair and right is the law. Okay? Because, there's 3 people on the screen in front of me, Georgette, and you, and each of us have a different idea of what's fair and right. That's based just upon our upbringing, our parents, our family. But that has nothing to do generally with the law. Sometimes the law is completely different from what you think. So that's what you're going to have to focus on as well, okay?
okay.
What's your next question?
And I was talking to my public defender, and she was telling me that I can't file a 388 just quite yet because she wants to file it with all my stuff done. Is that true? Like, do I have to have all of it done in order to go forward with my 388?
No, it's not true. But what she is telling you is a strategy that she has developed in her own mind regarding your case. I don't know enough about the case to tell you if that strategy is a 1 out of 10, a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 10. I just don't know. Have I ever used that strategy on cases? Yes, I have. Have I ever used different strategies on 388 petitions? Yes, I have. Sometimes I'll file a petition knowing that it won't go to trial within, 30 days, 6 weeks or something, knowing that my client is still finishing a class, right? Or in the middle of it. So that when we finally get to trial, I could say, oh, well, she completed it while we were waiting to get this court hearing.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yeah, because and then she also asked, like, what should I be, like, for this next court date, should I be preparing for anything, like, for the PPR? Like, I don't even know what a PPR really is. Like, I hardly have went to court because they've not told me about most of the court dates that I've had. like I said, they alienated me. They really did. Like, I did half the court dates that my baby's dad went to, I had no idea about. They never notified me or anything.
Okay, Cassandra, there's something I have to warn you about. Okay, and sometimes we get kind of lost or involved in our story. When you use the term alienation with a lawyer, especially in family court or juvenile court, it means something very specific. Okay, now you may have a different definition of alienation. And what a lot of judges will tell you is the term alienation, you're using it just as what's called a conclusionary term. It means nothing. What you have to do is tell people or tell me what has happened specifically. Let me give you an example. The car was very expensive. How expensive? $1,000, $10,000, 50,000, a million? Expensive means different things to different people. So if you're going to say, alienation, and using my example as the car was expensive. It cost $450,000. Oh, okay, now I got it. So if you say they alienated me, you got to add on to that and explain how they did it. Because, I'm going to bet that some of the things that you call alienation may not have been alienation as that term is used in the law. Right? I mean, we as just human beings and individuals say things that have a meaning to us inside of our mind, inside the minds of our friends and family. But that is not the case inside the law. So generally, alienation is tied to a parent forcing children to dislike or to stray away from the other parent. I don't think that that's your case at all.
Well, they told, like, my baby's dad, they would tell him everything. Like, they wouldn't try to get a hold of me or talk to me. And when I did try to call them or talk to them, I'd give them my phone numbers. I'd give them everything. I'd call over and over again. Nobody would contact me. Nobody would let me know what was going on. I wouldn't get letters in the mail from them like he would. They totally, like, cut my whole family out, like, of asking anybody to do anything, and would talk to his parents. They wanted to give the girls to his sister, who was a foster parent, but they said that if reunification didn't happen, that they would try to give the kids to her, which they still didn't try to do. Yeah, I basically didn't get any of the things that he got. Like, and when I tried to do that, when I went to court, they told me, like, when I went to go get the drug test done, they told me it was an automatic fail because the facility that I actually got a certificate saying that they couldn't do it, and I took it to them, they said that that was an automatic fail when the facility told me I couldn't do it.
Okay. So that's false. I mean, when you say they, I'm not sure who you're talking about.
DCFS.
Okay, well, it's called something else in San Bernardino, right?
It's Child Protect, or it's
CPS or CFS, something like that.
CFS, yeah.
So anyway, so be careful about using those pronouns as well.
Okay.
Because sometimes people say they, and they're talking about the court, the judge, the building, the CPS. By the way, it's not all the same, right? The court is part of the judiciary. CFS is part of the executive branch of the government. So they're two different things. Now, do they act in concert against parents? Maybe, but they're different. And what you just described to me is not really parental alienation. What you just described to me on how you were treated is lack of services, lack of being treated fairly. Your argument might be reasonable services were never given to you. But these are all issues that you and your attorney should be bringing up at each and every hearing, and even in between hearings. So, if you want to file a 388 now, I would talk to my attorney and file it. If she wants to wait until you finish everything, that's her strategy. Who am I to say that her strategy is wrong? I haven't reviewed your case. I might review your file and say, oh, you know what? That's a really good strategy. But sometimes I just file 388 so to get this in front of the judge right away, because there's not a limit as to the number of 388s you can file, right? And sometimes, and a real smart attorney told me this years ago, file the 388, and if it's going to get denied, the judge may tell you why it's denied. So then you can file another one. You can fix that and then file another one addressing the judge's concern. And if the judge has a new concern, fix that and file it again. There's no limit on the number of 388s that can be filed. It might have been within the last 12 months, for the first time in my career, a judge set an OSC against me for filing a frivolous 388, right? And I went to the hearing, and I explained to the judge my legal strategy and what I was trying to do and what I thought the law said. And she, I don't know if she agreed with me, but she didn't. She discharged the OSC rate contempt and didn't find that I filed something frivolous. I mean, so, there's no limit. And cases change theoretically every day. People change every day. Things happen every day. 1 week the kid wants to go home. The next week he doesn't want to go home. Next month, he wants to go home again. Cases are always changing because people are always changing. There might be abuse in the foster family home that you never knew of, right? Aunt May or cousin June wants to take the child now when they didn't want to take the child 3 months ago. So I'm in favor of, just generally speaking, filing the 388. Okay, if your attorney wants to wait, that's her strategy. Maybe she can explain it to you, or maybe she doesn't have to explain it to you, but that's her strategy. No two attorneys, I tell people this all the time, no two attorneys do the case the same way. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
We could have another attorney on here who does, CPS work, defense work, and they'll tell you something different. And it doesn't mean that they're right and I'm wrong, or vice versa. It means that their strategies, their experience, right? I'm a graduate of something called the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College. I'm in favor of having trials, letting the judge hear all the evidence, because that's what I'm good at. Some attorneys don't like to go to trial. That's not their strong suit. That's not to say one's better than the other. It's just their strategy and that individual attorney. All right, what's your next question?
I got them written down.
Sure.
When it comes to my girls, though, is there anything they can do to help this process, or try to show that they really want to come home, or they don't want to be there anymore?
Well, yeah, there's a lot they can do, especially at the age they're at. They can contact their attorney, express what they want. They can make sure that they're doing well at the group home or the foster home, so that judge won't have any hesitancy of sending the child back to you. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes if a kid is acting up in a group home, the judge may not want to send the child home because he or she may fear that you can't handle the child. The interesting thing is, a lot of time that happens because the child wants to go home so bad that they're acting out. But nobody recognizes that, or the kid hasn't told anybody that. I've been on cases where kids have run away continuously to the parent's house, right?
Yeah.
What are they telling the system? I was getting abused by my foster parents, so I kept running away from my, and I kept telling the social worker, and she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, if things are happening, I'm not telling your kids to run away. Don't get me wrong, because that's not a good thing at all.
Yeah, my
But
daughter, she was constantly running away, and she was running away with people that she shouldn't be running away with. And
right, she, and that
she
type of
ran to
thing.
me a couple of times, but they,
Yeah, yeah. So, and that happens a lot, and I think that she should speak to her lawyer and see if they can come up with a better plan. She might say, well, if you send me back home to my mom, I'm not going to be running away to my adult boyfriend, where I'm being abused.
yeah.
All right. So what's your next question?
Um, and for my, okay, for my youngest daughter, I feel like, and for my visits, actually, for my visits, like, they're supposed to be giving me visits like once a week for 2 hours, but they're out of county and I can't get to them, and I can't get anybody to do Zoom meetings with me or anything. Like, I'm trying to, and my lawyer said she can't do anything about it because I don't have services anymore.
They terminated your family reunification services? Okay. So that's why you need to file a 388 to ask for them back. But if the court has ordered you to have visitation with the child, even if you don't have services, there is something that your attorney, in my opinion, can file with the court and bring to the court's attention. By the way, children aren't, I'm thinking about the code section, but I don't believe children are supposed to be placed outside the county for this
Yeah,
very reason.
they said that they were placed outside the county because they couldn't find a place for them to be in the county, and plus they separated them. And they said they separated them because they were fighting and they weren't getting along. And ever since they separated them is when everything started going bad. Like, that's when my daughter started running away because they've never been apart from each other ever in their whole life. That's all they've had is each other. And when they separated them, because I told my oldest daughter to always protect her sister, to be there, do not leave your sister alone. But when they separated them, that took away her obligation, basically, to do this. And she started running away because she didn't have anything to basically watch anymore, which was her little sister. And then that's when everything started going really bad for everybody. My youngest daughter, she's really depressed because she doesn't have anybody. She's losing hope, basically. That's what she's told me. Sorry.
That's all right. These are the types of things that should be brought to the judge's attention in your 388 petition. Because I would bet $1 nobody's told the judge this. Even if your child has told the social worker this, I would bet $1 the social worker hasn't told the judge. And I bet $1 that since your daughter told you that, you haven't told the judge.
I haven't even had the chance. Like, I haven't had a court date where I was able to say anything.
Okay, that's why God made Section 388. Okay? I know you probably have some more questions. Go ahead with your next one.
When my public defender said that also that since she can't do anything about the visits because I don't have services anymore, but the court did order me to have visits, then what would she have to do? Because it's really like looking bad on me that I'm not getting my visits done because the fact that I have no way to do it. And they told the lady who I was previously talking about, that was their foster mom, and also she used to be a social worker with them. She's the one that has to supervise my visits, but she also has another job and she only can bring them down every so often because she can only make it up there. So I'm wondering, like, is that even okay for that to happen since she's not really working with them? Like, she's just their ex-foster mom, basically. Like, I don't get how that's okay. Like, who would be supervising the visits, really?
Okay,
Like,
Cassandra, hold on.
I
You're
don't
doing
know.
you're doing a Georgette on me. You're going to ask me 10 questions in a row and then think, oh, he didn't answer any of my questions. If you want to ask me a question, let me answer it. Otherwise, we're
Okay.
just gonna. These must be random thoughts you're having. Okay, so
Okay,
this is what
sorry.
I was going to say. I think to your first question, what you should do. Okay, now if you're being honest with me and accurate with me, you might want to consider getting another attorney. For
Okay.
whatever reason, it's not working out with your current lawyer, and that's not unusual, right? I mean, it happens all the time. So that's the first thing you should probably consider. Number two, you're going to have to file that motion of 388 regarding visitation. And if the judge has ordered it and you're not getting it, there's something that I do. Some people think this is over the top, but I don't know any better way, in my humble opinion, to get the department's attention, and that's to file an OSC rate contempt against the department and the social worker for not following the court orders. If you weren't following court orders, guess what? They'd file it against you. So you should think about filing it against them if they're not following the court order for you to have visitation. Okay?
Okay.
Your next single question.
Okay. Can you repeat what that is again? That I should file?
OSC Ray RE contempt. Now, the good thing is that I think we're live streaming this to 8 social media platforms. All right. Several of them are Facebook groups that we're related to.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to watch this again, it'll be up and you can watch it again.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure what it was for sure, though.
Okay. OSC
I
rate
really,
contempt.
yeah, I really feel like they're like not doing a lot of things that they should be doing because it's told for them to do, but they're not doing it. Like, also,
When you say they, who are you referring to?
CFS, like they're not doing some of the things that the courts are telling them to.
Cassandra.
Huh.
I get the impression you've seen a couple shows by Miss G. Have you?
I do the show with Miss G.
Okay. So you know that CPS or CFS, they don't do what they're supposed to do many times. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
So why are you asking me about that? You already know what you are. What I mean, I talk to people all the time. Can you believe it? The social worker lied. Yeah, I can believe it. Well, what can I do? Can we get? A lot of people want to get the social worker in trouble, like she's going to lose her job.
I don't think they're going to lose their job. I just don't.
Not at
I
all.
just want them to help my kids. I want them to be
hold on. Okay. Do you think you can actually force a social worker to do something?
No, I can't even get a hold of him, let alone make him do something.
So why are you still beating that drum? Is it your belief that one day the social worker is going to wake up, do what's right, and maybe one day return the children to you?
Never.
No. So quit beating that drum. You're wasting your time, your emotions, your focus. Do what I'm telling you to do.
Okay.
I talked to someone the other day, Cassandra, you're not gonna believe this. And he's not a lawyer, he's a parent. He doesn't have his children, and he wanted a consultation. I gave him a consultation, a free consultation. And at the end of the consultation, he says to me, I understand you've done thousands of cases. I understand that you've been a lawyer more than 35 years. I understand you wrote the book on how to fight CPS. I understand you had a radio show about fighting CPS. But you know what, Mr. Davis? I don't agree with your strategy. Okay. That's what I said to him. Okay. You have any other questions? And he says, well, don't you want to discuss why I don't agree with you? I said, no, not really. I said, listen, I'm giving you a free consultation. based upon my 35 years of expertise in this area of law. If you don't agree with me, I'm not going to argue about it with you. I'm not going to put you on my back and carry you to the promised land. It's not my job to convince you. You asked me for a free consultation. I told you. You want me to justify it? How can I justify it? You don't know the law. You don't know the law of evidence. You don't know the law of procedure. You don't know the court rules. You've never done a trial in juvenile court. How can I explain that to you? I don't have, 6 months to sit down with you and hold your hand through this, especially free. Believe it or not, I have to pay bills myself, right? So, if you want to ask me for a consult, I'll happily give you that free consult. And by the way, when a lot of people ask me for consults, they don't plan on hiring me, and I don't mind. I am hopefully giving them ideas that they can go back and talk to their attorneys about. Their free attorney, or so a lot of people call me already have private attorneys. Hell, private attorneys call me and ask me, what do I think they should do? I'm free. I'm happy to talk to everyone. Okay, so if I say something, I'm just not pulling it out of my, butt.
Oh, well,
Something
yeah, I know that. I know that you're experienced, obviously. Right. People do ask for your help. Right.
So, I'm telling, I've told you, and some people say, well, it seems so easy. No, I said, what has been easy is that I told you quickly and efficiently and in an organized fashion. That was the easy part. You know what the hard part is? Implementing it. Right. Yep. Implementing it. That's a whole different story. Now, I've told you what you should do, and it sounded so easy. But it's not. It's not. I mean, once you file, first of all, you got to find an attorney to prepare the 388 the right way. Not just the 4 pages of the form. You're going to need declarations. You're going to need evidence. You're going to need legal points and authorities. Now, once you file that and serve everyone, all right, then you're going to have a hearing. They call it a prima facie hearing. Whether it's going to be argued whether you should be given the right to have a trial. If you win that, then you come back and you have a trial on your 388. Now, there's witnesses you have to subpoena. You have to prepare your witnesses. You have to consider the evidence that they're going to use against you and how to rebut it. Then you're going to actually have to have a trial. And in a lot of, CPS courtrooms, those trials could last multiple days. Not full days, but those judges have so many cases, they just can't do your case. Right? Start at 9 o'clock and finish at 5. It just doesn't work that way. They got, a whole calendar. And heaven forbid it's one of those counties like LA where they have, 20, 30, 40 cases on calendar in one day sometimes. You think you're going to get a full day of trial? No. So it's not as easy as I seem to make it to be. But you ask me a question. Now I can't, it's like, oh, you need open heart surgery. Well, that's a little bit more complicated than just saying you need open heart surgery, right? There's a lot of shit that goes behind that, right? It's just not, something we do every day. A lot of preparation, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge you need. So, all right.
My public defender was saying something about if I try to file a 388 during the fact that I'm in the middle of doing classes, and she said that they'd probably try to make me do them over again if they denied it.
No, there's no basis for that.
That's why she doesn't want to file an extra 388. She doesn't want to do it twice, she said, because they've told people that she's done it with before that they'd have to redo the classes because of
that might be true. That might have happened, but it's not, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that's not even close to the law.
That's bullshit. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's why she doesn't want to file a 388 yet. She wants to wait. and
Okay.
have my classes all done and everything done, so that way I can only file it once and not have to redo the classes because of the filing of that 388 in the middle of me doing classes and them not being done in a timely manner, apparently.
Right. Well, I don't know if that's that particular judge's rule. Maybe the judge has some kind of unwritten rule or something, but in my opinion, that's not the law.
So they put rules in place to violate the people's rights, basically. That's what it is. That's what I see happening. So the judge one day says, okay, well, today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to make this rule up, because it makes absolutely no sense. And this is what I was trying to tell you all along, Mr. Davis, and you and I argue about this constantly, is that court-appointed attorneys are full of shit. That's exactly what it is.
Okay. That's your opinion. That's not my opinion. There's some really good court-appointed attorneys. There's some really bad ones, and there's some in the middle, just like everything in life. Cassandra.
No comment.
Cassandra, what other questions
Yes.
did you have for me?
Actually, that's all the questions I've written down.
Okay.
But
That's fair enough.
it helped
That's
a
fair
lot.
enough.
That gave me a lot of insight on what I'm needing to do, because I was really stuck for right now. Right now, I was really stuck because I was trying to figure out if I should have this meeting with these people and if I should be trying to like do any of that, or if I could do the 388 before I finished anything. That was really like, because I'm really trying to get my kids back sooner, because it just seems like it's getting worse and worse,
Right.
like as it goes on.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being a guest today, Cassandra.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Georgette, I'm in town this weekend, and I might be available to do another special show with you tomorrow, holiday show on the 4th of July. So you text me or email me later if you want to do that, and you tell me the parameters. I mean, we'd have another guest on and talk about their story, and I answer their questions, or you could just, we could just, you and me, Georgette, we can rag on each other for 45 minutes or so, or we could do something.
I'd watch that. No. I'd watch you guys debate. No.
That's going to be like a fight of the year, me and Mr. Davis. Oh my God.
Ding ding.
Or we, can do, or we can do something different. Now, Cassandra mentioned something. I don't think I recognize your face. You're the Cassandra that is on with GT?
Yep. See?
Oh, okay. Georgette, has Grace offered Cassandra her own show?
Cassandra found a new job, so the time is kind of,
Yeah, the time for Mrs. G's show is kind of like when I work now, so I haven't really been able to do the show the couple of times I have, but I know what time I work now.
Well, Facebook is on 24/7, and the shows are only like 45 minutes, 50 minutes long. So if you ever, and it could be on a Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So think about that. You seem very intelligent. You have had experience with, CPS, unfortunately, and I think that you would have a lot to say to help people out there who don't have the experiences that you have.
Actually, Cassandra, share with Mr. Davis, what did you study? What did you tell me you studied the other day?
Oh yeah, I found this website online that is offered for people who deal with child welfare services, and it has classes and certificates that you can get for like different sections that are offered for attorneys and judges. Like the attorneys and judges section is the safety of a child in child welfare, and then how to represent a parent in child welfare. And I actually did the classes and passed and got certificates for those. So I actually know the processes and what attorneys should be looking for when it comes to like the parent and how they should represent themselves, if they should let the parent speak or not because of their presence, and how to present the evidence and stuff like that.
She's very intelligent.
Georgette, you and Grace find a time slot for her because even if he just spoke on that topic alone, it would help hundreds of people, thousands of people, actually. Now,
Absolutely.
listen, there's one other thing I want to tell you, Georgette. There's a lady who's been posting in this show. Her name is Nicole Delaney. I want you to try to contact Nicole Delaney. And Nicole, if you see this telephone number on the screen, 888-888-6582, just call that number and ask to speak to Georgette. Okay? And they'll take a message and get the message to Georgette. Or you can just email Georgette directly at GAT@VincentWDavis.com. That's Georgette AT@VincentWDavis.com. Listen, everyone, I want to thank you again, Cassandra, for being on the show. Miss G, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Think about a show tomorrow if you want to do one. And I want to thank everybody out there in the universe, the metaverse, for watching us today. All right. If you have any questions, give me a call at 888-888-6582. Or you can text me. Listen to this. Don't share this. This is my personal mobile number. Text me at 310-308-7758. 310-308-7758. Or v.davis at vincentwdavis.com. v.davis at vincentwdavis.com. Okay, everyone, thank you again and have a happy 4th of July.
Cassandra, I love you.